And we see a while ago the Nets getting prepared for the task at hand. It's a West versus East contest here in Brooklyn as the Nets play one at home. Glad to have you with us for more NBA action. I'm Kevin Harlan, introducing the rest of the 2K broadcast team. Steve Kerr, Clark Kellogg, and sideline reporter Doris Burke. And now, presented by State Farm, we take a look at the matchups for our tip-off coming up moments from now. And one of the players we'll be seeing in this one, Kobe Bryant.
Well, guys, with Kobe, it's all about the ability to create his own shot wherever and whenever he wants. And he does it with a combination of size, speed, and tremendous footwork.
Yeah, Steve, but it doesn't end there. I mean, even if you do manage to stick with him and get a hand in his face, it really doesn't matter. Hands just don't seem to bother him at all. His concentration level and confidence at such a high mark. Once he gets it going, there's really no slowing him down.
And just a single game trip away from Los Angeles for the Lakers. This is an important game for them because they've really been struggling. Just one win in their last 5 games.
Checking out Los Angeles, they've been a team that hasn't been able to achieve nearly the same level of success they enjoyed last season. They're a different squad this year. Haven't been able to quite put my finger on why that's the case.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody has, Clark. The chemistry just has not been there. The players don't seem to be complimenting each other like they did a season ago. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a shakeup here and if this team didn't make a trade or two.
And the shot is good.
His offensive game is so refined, guys, extremely well developed in just about every aspect.
Looking at the last game for the Brooklyn Nets, it was a loss to the Rockets in Houston.
And the glaring factor for me in that loss was the poor rebound. I mean, they got destroyed on the glass.
Yeah, they got to work. I mean, it's plain and simple. The rebound on the ball, you got to work. You got to do your work early. You got to be physical. You got to go after the ball. And you can't give up. And they just didn't work hard enough.
Nash kicks to Clark. Lets it go with the 3. A rebound by the Nets. This is the second time they've matched up against Los Angeles.
Well, the big thing is they've got to avoid tonight what happened in the previous matchup. A lot of their starters were on the bench with foul trouble in that game.
Now here's Johnson. He's coming off a 13-point game against Houston.
Yeah, he picked his spots in that game too, Kevin, because I thought he not only did a nice job scoring, but setting up his teammates as well.
Just over a minute and a half played here in this one. And now Doris Burke has an update from the sidelines.
I had a chance to talk with the head coach for Brooklyn. It's their second meeting with the Lakers this year, and coach is hoping things go better for them as they drop the first game. He said, quote, I think we came out a little timid the first time. Gave a little too much respect to Nash and Kobe and their bigs. Now that we have that out of our system, I expect a much more physical game on both ends of the floor. Should be a great game, guys.
All right, Doris, thank you very much. Just to focus on what Steve was talking about for another moment, their foul trouble, Clark, probably had more to do with that loss than anything.
Yeah, I agree with you, Kevin. I mean, I thought they lost their heads a bit. They just basically lost control. Things started to get physical. They didn't really show any discipline. They started committing unnecessary and foolish fouls. It was just a real collapse in terms of mental fortitude there.
Got to keep your composure.
Always.
And here's Kobe after the 3-pointer from Joe Johnson. Kobe kicks to Howard, takes it up for the stop.
You know, that's how you do it, guys. I mean, he passed his way out of the double team and into an easy basket.
If you're just tuning in, we've played about 2.5 minutes here in the first. Kicks it to Bogans. It's good. Great play by Williams to set it up. Bogans got 5 points so far.
Well, you know, NBA teams have always loved big, strong point guards, and Darren Williams is certainly that. 6'3", 210 pounds, and he's a physical presence at that one spot.
The Nets with the lead. And he was fouled on the way up. 2 free throws now for him. You're talking about Darren Williams, the classic big, strong point guard teams love, and he really uses that to his advantage. Steve, I can only imagine what it must be like to play in the backcourt with him.
Or to guard him. I mean, that would be difficult. He's so strong, he's so fast, and he's got that incredible crossover move. So once Williams gets you on the run, he's going to be able to fend you off with that strength, and then he's got that beautiful shooting stroke to score over the top.
Looking at who's out there now for the Nets. Andre Blatch, he's checked in for Lopez. And Chris Humphrey subbed in for Reggie Evans. Sacre is checked in for the Lakers. Jamison comes in for Earl Clark. Now here's Kobe. A 14-point game for him in the win against Utah.
And what stood out to me in particular was his gorgeous playmaking out there. He's finding his teammates in great positions to score.
Big mistake not having more defensive pressure on him out there.
1:39 left to play in the first.
You know, when the Nets made the trade for Darren Williams a few seasons ago, Kevin, they were thought to have made a steal of a deal. Yeah. But you look at the haul they gave up, and it was a pretty steep price to pay.
Nash with it. Williams picks him up. Tries it from the top of the key. A rebound by the Nets. With the lead pass. And Bogans gets it to go. Bogans got 7 points in the game. Going back to that trade you're talking about, Clark, several first-round picks and Favors, who has blossomed the last year or two up in Utah. Devin Harris was sent there as well. Not exactly cheap, Steve, but they had to give up a lot.
Well, gaining a superstar is never cheap, Kevin. And I thought the interesting thing about that trade was that New Jersey, now Brooklyn, of course, they didn't have any assurances from Darren Williams that he would re-sign. So it was really a major gamble at the time.
Now here's Johnson. He has 6.
That's a look that he'll never pass up, the one he'll usually never miss.
Right side, Kobe. And he slams it in one-handed.
And you really don't want to give up too many dunks like that. One is too many.
Oh, yeah, no, certainly you're right. You know, that's making it way too easy for sure.
Yeah, major breakdown defensively. They've got to tighten things up here.
Now here's Johnson. Right now averaging 17 points a game. Blatch dishes to Johnson. Shoots from 12. Cannot hit.
That's an unusual, surprising miss for him. Typically, he's good on those inside.
Backing down is Bryant. 2 on the clock. No good. Both teams have it going here early and still close through the first quarter. Nets out in front, leading by just 2. 2K Sports back in a moment here in Brooklyn.
Coming up this Saturday night, Marcin Gortat and the Phoenix Suns hit the road to battle it out with the Golden State Warriors. Big-time hoops coming your way.
Either team able to build much of a lead up to this point as we start the second quarter. And guys, what stands out to you from the Nets in this one?
And I'm just so impressed with the long-range shooting. They have really lit it up from outside.
Yeah, the sharp shooting from deep, a big part of their lead, and they're playing with confidence and shooting it well.
So with Nash sitting on the bench, here's the 5 for Mike D'Antoni right now. Antoine Jamison out there with Earl Clark. Then it's Darius Morris. Then there's Howard. And it's Duhan in at the 1 spot. Here's Brooks and blocked. Shots good by Black. Lakers trail by 4. And here is Duhan. That's good. Duhan's got his first points of the game.
No mistakes on the offensive execution there.
Here is Watson. He kicks to Stackhouse for the 3, and the Nets another 3.
Well, another uncontested 3 there. They've got to make some kind of an adjustment. I mean, they're giving up way too many open 3s.
Well, the last 5 hoops, 3 have come off wide open 3-pointers, Clark. So it's one thing to give up 1, but you start giving 3-pointers up in bunches, you're in big trouble.
I can imagine they're going to hear an earful about this next stop. I mean, that's 3 straight field goals given up right in the middle of the lane. Inexcusable.
Well, defense starts at the rim. I mean, you want teams shooting the ball from the outside, and that's not happening. They're just giving up everything inside.
Kevin, let's take a look here to see where the Lakers rank in the NBA. 3rd in rebounding, 6th in scoring, and they're in the top 3rd in the league in blocks. They're a team that really doesn't give many good looks.
And the rebounds really jump out at me, Clark, when you talk about all those numbers. I mean, this is a ferocious rebounding team. They're very physical, and they always take the fight to their opponent. They seem to own the paint, and when they do that well, they're awfully tough to beat.
Dishes to Watson. Nice ball movement by Brooklyn. Williams' shot is off.
There's never been any question about Darren Williams' ability to score. How about last season with the Nets when he had 57 in a game, including 21 consecutive free throws? Now, that's a Nets franchise record, the 57 points in one game. Amazing.
Pull from the top of the key. Darren Williams grabs the miss. Williams has got 4 rebounds in this game. Shot on the wing. They get the rebound. Here's Humphries. There's the dish to Watson. Rebound by Meta World Peace.
When he's wide open like that, he'll rarely miss those.
When you talk about Williams as a scorer, he can give you those big nights, scoring, but of course also a tremendous playmaker play.
Top 5 in assists pretty much his whole career, Kevin, and now with more help this season, I think he'll be able to lean more on his teammates and pile up even additional assists since he won't have to shoulder the scoring load as much.
Williams missing again.
Looked like he rushed that one, guys. The defense was out of position. He was wide open, just couldn't take advantage.
Nash with it. Williams picks him up. Lopez with the steal. Oh, and here we go. Watson, nobody back. That's good.
And some instant offense coming for them after that steal.
Yeah, that's terrific, beautiful transition basketball. No chance at all for the defense to get back and set up.
Brooklyn making some changes. Andre Blatch, he's checked in for Lopez. Evans comes in for Chris Humphries. And it's Bogans in for C.J. Watson. And then for the Lakers, Howard comes in for Sutton. And Kobe is subbed in for Darius Morris. That's good. 1:44 left in the first half. On the wing, Johnson. And he drew the blocking foul. He'll go to the line for 2. That's on Dwight Howard.
And Joe Johnson now in his 12th season out of Arkansas. One of the best swingmen in basketball. Of course, he's one of the highest paid players in the league. So I think fans sometimes expect more out of him. But he's still a very solid player.
Marshawn Brooks is checked in for Brooklyn. And for players with the big contracts, there's always that added pressure, guys, to live up to it. And, Clark, that's a tough thing to do sometimes.
Yeah, you said a mouthful there, Kevin. It's so true. Sometimes guys strike the contract lottery and end up being pressured to live up to that. And in Joe Johnson's case, there's some fans that feel as though he's not been a franchise-type player. But for my money, he's as good a player as there is at creating his own shot, handling his business, and being a guy who can perform in the clutch. I think he's an outstanding all-around basketball player, especially at the offensive end.
Outside, Kobe. Right side, Kobe. Brooks covering with the fadeaway. Gets it to go. And it's 8 points for Kobe Bryant.
It's been a great day for him from the field, but his team still trailing.
There's 48 seconds left to play here in the second quarter. Williams double team. High post shot. A tip in on the offensive rebound. And the Nets lead by 9.
Oh, they're now +5 in the rebound category, really controlling the glass.
And rebounding is one of those non-glamour stats. I mean, it takes work and effort and tenacity and physicality. But when you look at the scoreboard, you can see the correlation.
Pass to Brooks. Here's Evans. Blatch kicks to Brooks. To the inside, Williams. Persistence pays off as they finally hit a shot.
He got one step ahead of the defense on that one. Excellent job.
Here's Kobe. No good on the buzzer beater. And the first half is now in the books. Nets lead by...
Now, presented by Sprint.
Welcome to the halftime show. Glad you're with us. I'm Damon Bruce. Brooklyn up on top against the Lakers. And offensively just filling it up, making the pass.
Well, we're getting back to the action now. It's been a one-team show so far. We'll see if that changes here in the third. You look at Joe Johnson, he's really been playing well.
Well, we know he can score, so it's not really a huge shock to see him put up these kind of big numbers.
And I would think that he most likely will continue to carry on this kind of play into the fourth.
Our second half of basketball, and presented by Gatorade. Let's see who's all fueled up and on the floor to start the third. So for Brooklyn now, they've got Bogans. Brook Lopez is out there with Evans. And there's Darren Williams. And it's Johnson in at the 2. And Clark slams it in.
Well, I tell you what, it was the good pick that was set that turned him loose.
And once he got around it, Steve, it was smooth sailing right to the hole.
Well, because of the pick, he had plenty of room. That's why he was able to power down that slam. And he's the type of player who, when he gets it going, it is almost impossible to cool down. Coaches will call a timeout sometimes just to take away some of the momentum that he provides for that point.
And in addition to that, Steve, he has something else that every player would like to have. A superb stroke from three-point range.
Williams gets a screen from Lopez. Shoots off the step back. Williams can't get it to go.
Couldn't convert, but nice little two-man game there.
And it wouldn't surprise me to see them go back to that the next trip.
Oh, and they get in the way of the alley-oop. Not to be. Good play defensively. Johnson. Good, and it's Williams who picks up the assist. And 12 points for Johnson.
Second half is flowing nicely so far on offense. 75% from the field is what they're shooting.
And now let's check out the league's leading rebounders. These are the real stats, real scores from the real NBA. Dwight Howard on top.
And guys, I think his rebounding has taken a lot of pressure off of his teammates and really frees them up to contribute in other ways.
And it's blocked. Williams against Kobe. Over Howard. Another miss by Williams.
So far, he hasn't made much of a contribution at the offensive end.
And there's Kobe. That's good on the assist by Nash. And that's 11 points for Kobe Bryant. Nets leading by 10. And the first timeout called of the game for Brooklyn.
You know, guys, every year they take a survey of NBA GMs, and one of the questions last year was, who's the toughest player in the league? Kobe Bryant got the most votes, and it wasn't even close.
Into the third we go. 2 minutes in now. Feeds it to Evans. The feed now to Bogans. Lopez, defended by Nash. Lopez, no luck. Going back to Kobe Bryant and his toughness. He plays through injuries that other players, it seems like, Clark succumbed to.
Yeah, broken fingers, and he had a torn ligament in his wrist last season on his shooting hand, no less, and found a way to play through it. He's got a strong will to play.
He is always so in control, guys, even when he's going hard to the hoop. Very skilled finisher.
A little over 2.5 minutes off the clock in this final half of play.
He operates pretty well in traffic, guys, but that was a tough play to finish off.
They double-team Kobe. Here's Clark. And Evans pulls it down. Nets leading by 8. Williams for 3. Power down with both hands.
How's that for an encore after the offensive board?
That's the only way he knows how to do it. Monster stuff.
Oh, he makes life miserable down around the paint for anybody who's trying to box him out.
Backing down is Howard. And the Lakers check on 2 more.
Another good offensive possession for him. He's trying to shoulder the load here for his team.
Kobe against Williams. He dishes it to Bogans. It's tipped and stolen by Nash. Passes it to Kobe.
He's definitely showing some real sweet dunking skills here.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God, what a play.
Yeah, that was spectacular.
Williams passes to Lopez. Evans. Fader on the way. And the rebound goes to Nash.
Fadeaway was the right shot there because it got his attempt away from the defender, but the touch was poor.
Howard setting the pick for Nash. Back to Howard. And stolen by Darren Williams. Gets it to go. Hogan's got 9. Lakers trail by 8. 44 seconds left in the third quarter. Backing down is Bryant. And the pass to Nash. From deep. That's good. And it's Kobe with the assist. Kobe's got 6 assists in the game.
And I'll tell you what, they might want to pay a little more attention to him defensively than they did on that last trip.
And Williams, here we go. Here's Bogans. No good on the three.
Boy, both clubs really battling under the boards.
Yeah, and you know, Steve, the rebounding story really mirrors the game at large. I mean, it's been pretty much tit for tat, neck and neck.
On the basket by Kobe.
My goodness, he's knocking down everything he looks at.
Johnson kicks to Williams from downtown. That one goes. Count. Williams has got 11. Here is Howard. Knocking down is Bryant. And Kobe Bryant gets the whistle that time. That's his first foul.
Terrific defensive play to cut him off and square up.
And he took a shot. Excellent toughness to get in there and make a play. I love that kind of work.
Shots continuing to fall as we conclude the third quarter. Both teams putting up points. Nets out in front, up by 6.
This Saturday, Al Jefferson and the Utah Jazz take on LaMarcus Aldridge and the Portland Trailblazers live from the Rose Garden.
And thanks again for joining us. Let's see what happens here in the fourth. And now our sideline reporter Doris Burke has a report on our Sprite uncontainable game. Hi, Doris.
Hi, guys. Well, it was the stretch by the Nets that garners the uncontainable game today. They keep adding points to their lead and have shown no hints of slowing down. This is the kind of game that really opens some eyes around the league.
Great, thanks, Doris. And a very important turning point in this game was when they started to gather that steam and really started rolling, guys.
Yeah, no question, Kevin. And that run changed the entire feel of this game. And it wasn't just their offense that made it happen. The stops they were making defensively played just as big a role.
And right at the start of that run, fellas, you could see the sudden injection of energy that went through the whole team. Then it was game on.
And on the court for the Lakers to start the fourth. And in the backcourt, it's Nash and Kobe. Earl Clark is out there with world peace, and it's Howard in at the pivot spot, manning the middle. Here is Watson, defended by Nash. Here's Johnson. Lays it up, and despite of the excellent defense at that.
And this continues to be a shootout.
Well, I'm a fan as well as a commentator, and I love this fast-paced action. I mean, it's going back and forth, back and forth.
Back to Nash. That's good, and it's Kobe with the assist. 9 points for Nash.
Nash is such a devastating offensive player because no matter what you do defensively, he always has an answer. One of the best passers and shooters in the history of the game. So whatever you do, he's going to find a way for his team to score.
Well, you've talked a little bit about him hitting open shots. Even when Nash is absolutely smothered and covered, he can still knock it down. It comes back to that focus and awareness of his. I think his body balance and court awareness are two of his best attributes.
He feeds it to World Peace. They set the screen. Clark, and he slams that one down.
I tell you what, you got to love his aggressiveness finishing inside like that.
Well, his leaping ability, Clark, gives him a great advantage.
And that's why they look to get him the ball around the rim. I mean, it feels like it's either a dunk or a foul and a couple of free throws every possession.
Now a timeout called by Brooklyn. Let's find out what Doris Burke has for us.
I was able to listen in on what the Nets coach was going over with his team. He told his team to keep looking for three-point opportunities, saying their perimeter defense isn't doing a good job getting out on our shooters. So let's keep firing away until they decide to guard us.
Here's what Brooklyn's going with right now. Brooke Lopez is checked in for Blatch. Evans comes in for Chris Humphries. Keith Bogans, he's checked in for Marshawn Brooks. And Darren Williams is subbed in for C.J. Watson. Here's Johnson. The Lakers with the rebound. They put up a nice win against Utah last time out.
And offensively, everything just seemed to come so easily to them in that game, Clark.
Yeah, it really did, Steve. I mean, it looked effortless for them at that end of the floor.
There's Nash with the three. The shot is off. And Brooklyn will now go the other way with it. Johnson outside. Lopez dishes to Bogans. Hit his foot. And the ref's whistling a kick ball. Andre Blatch, he's checked in for Reggie Evans. Lopez drives in. Off the inbound, no good. The Lakers have gone 3 of 4 in field goal attempts since getting things started here in the fourth. Backing down is Bryant. Left side, Kobe. Kicks it to World Peace. And it's out of bounds. The Nets will take it the other way.
Boy, they couldn't hook up there on what's really a pretty basic pass.
Nets have gone 1 of 4 since the end of the third quarter. Williams against Nash. Left side, Williams. 6 to shoot. They need this one. And again, it's the Nets missing.
Well, the shot was there for him, and he had to take it. I don't care if he didn't convert it. He's got to take that every time.
Kobe, the pass to World Peace. And again, no good by the Lakers. Nash kicks to Kobe. Howard with a screen on Williams. He kicks to Howard. Out to Nash. Lakers passing it around. Knocking down is Bryant. And the call will be against Bill Williams. That is his first foul of the game. The Nets making a switch here. Evans is checked in. We've got 1:28 left in the fourth quarter. Kobe attacking.
What a huge play.
And let's now send it over to Damon Bruce in the studio with an update. Damon?
All right, Kevin, let's first quickly check out some games that have wrapped up already. It was the Heat with a win against the Celtics in Boston. LeBron James, their leading scorer. A tight game for the Hornets, squaring off against the Memphis Grizzlies. Things are pretty close out there in the third quarter of action. And that's all we have to report from here in the studio. Back to you guys.
All right, Damon, thank you for that.
Well, we've got to the point in the season, and time is starting to run out from the teams that haven't lived up to their potential so far. Definitely a few squads out there that need to get things in gear quickly or risk missing out on the playoffs.
And Williams, here we go. It's on target from the high post. And the Nets lead by 1. Well, as we move into the fourth, it's been an even game.
Yeah, it has been. Neither team able to create any significant separation so far.
Steve?
Yeah, that's right, guys. The lead has now changed hands 5 times.
Kobe with it, and it's Johnson picking him up. Here's Howard. 52 seconds left in the fourth. Williams against Nash. Double team on Williams. And World Peace over the help. From deep, Johnson nails the tray.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a scary sight when Johnson starts lighting it up like this.
Lakers have gone 4 of 7 from the field since the beginning of the fourth. For 3, Kobe. Yes! And that shot brings them to within just 1.
He's so clutch, Kevin. When the pressure is at its highest, that's when he's at his very best.
We've got a 9-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. Nash against Williams. Bogans. Nash comes with the double team.
I like the work there, contesting that shot that looked like it was going to be easy, but they forced the miss.
You know what? He got it in close, but couldn't finish in traffic.
Backing down is Bryant. Right side, World Peace. And so it looks like the Lakers will retain possession here. And here's Kobe for What a shot! At the buzzer!
What a play, and that seals the deal. Simply said, clutch. Really clutch. Big time clutch.
And so it's the Lakers who come out on top here. Clark, it was anybody's game right to the very end.
Yeah, it was. The coach is happy with the outcome, but maybe not so much with the margin.
Well, it's time to say so long. For Clark Kellogg, Steve Kerr, and Doris Burke, this is Kevin Harlan, along with our 2K Sports crew, thanking you for tuning in. Now.